Thank you, Pastor Blake, for the opportunity to be up here. I do appreciate your confidence in me and that I'm not going to make a fool of myself, which is generally what you guys get to see on occasion here. I make a fool of myself quite often during VBS, during Christmas celebrations, celebrate Christmas. I'm not sure if it's grammatically right, but we'll just call it that. And so tonight, I may still make a fool of myself, but we're going to do it together, right? And I thank you guys for coming here tonight. This is definitely out of my wheelhouse. This is definitely stepping out of my comfort zone. So I do appreciate you guys coming here tonight to kind of hear what the Lord's placed on my heart. And so with that, before I get completely into my message, I want to do something that I usually do. Drew and I have been doing for quite a few years with your kids over in kids ministry. We are invested in your kids, and we like to know what's been happening in their lives. So we always start off our time over there after free time by asking this question. What is something fun, new, or exciting, or something that you'd like us to pray with you about? Because if you know kids, like we know kids, they love to talk. And we have a choice. We can either let them talk during the lesson, where it's really important that they be quiet, or we can give them the opportunity to talk at the very beginning. And so we fight our battles wisely, and we talk at the beginning of before the lesson. And so tonight, I'd like you guys to humor me. I want to ask you the same thing. It'll help me feel more comfortable up here, and maybe it'll get you all so that you're not talking during my sermon too. So I want to ask you, Autumn's going to go around, what is something fun, new, exciting that's happened to you this week, or something you would like us to pray about with you? Anybody? Any takers? Come on, something. All right, what have we got? Mr. Elijah back there. You guys can't tell me, it's this close to Christmas, you can't tell me nothing fun or exciting is happening. Elijah, what you got?
Me and my friend are going to work on a New Year's resolution. We're essentially going to be going on a phone diet. So just prayer that we stick to it together.
Yes. It's getting that time of the year, right? The resolutions are starting to happen. Anybody else got something for me? All right, we got Mr. Austin, right? Yes. Ha-ha.
Praise the living God. The Lord seems to be working in my brother's life. My brother's never been saved, but it looks like things are happening. He's going to church, part of a men's Bible study, so don't know exactly where he's at with his salvation, but been praying for this for decades.
That's awesome. Dreams coming true right there. Prayers being answered. And if he's not there yet, it sounds like soon, right? Just keep on him. All we had to do sometimes is plant the seed. Who else has got something for me? All right, Miss Emily's got something for me. All right, Miss Emily. Yeah, pick her. Yeah, pick her. Yeah, this is exactly how our kids act in 2nd through 5th grade.
I'm just trying to help make you
I'm feeling more at home. Thank you.
Good.
Hi. What does you have something to tell us today?
Yes. So
Okay.
I am really excited for this next year because I have a lot of new beginnings.
Yes. And one of those new beginnings is
It's an apartment.
an apartment. We're so excited about that. Anybody else? We'll do one more. Oh, Miss Leslie. I'm a little nervous about this one.
Don't be nervous.
Okay.
So my cousin is flying Dennis and I to New York City.
What?
He is paying for all the tickets and the travel and the hotel and a dinner and a show and any sites we want to see. I'm from New York, but to see it as a tourist is going to be different.
Yes.
And I know there's people here that live in New York now.
Yeah.
But I'm excited. He called. He goes, "What do I have to do to convince you?" And I was like, "Nothing."
Nothing.
So,
Do you need somebody to carry your bags? Use as a hand warmer?
you are about to go on a big adventure, so stop it.
Oh, sorry. Fine.
And to pray for,
Fine.
just continue to pray for my healing. I'm on the last medicine. I'm on the last frontier of it's going to work or not. And so, but I have peace. I'm really have peace. I worry more about my mother than I do for me. But I have a great medical staff and everything. And so just praying for continued peace and fun. I mean, you've been to our house. We're fun. We're fun.
Oh, so fun.
So we're fun as it is.
Dennis especially.
Yeah. So praying for that, and my mom, provision to cover her stay where she's at. That's a big giant. But I felt today in worship that it was saying that I'm going to show off in my timing.
Yes.
So.
Oh, timing. I love timing. We'll hear more about timing later. I love it. Thank you, Miss Leslie. I love it. I love all of these examples. I love that you are willing enough to share with me what's going on in your lives. I appreciate that. So thank you, Lord, for all of these things. Thank you for the exciting new beginnings, the close to salvation if he hasn't already been saved, Lord. Only you know that right now. We thank you for this word that you've downloaded to me. I ask that tonight people hear you and not me. And let these words bring you honor and glory. Amen. All right, like Pastor Blake said, man, you're here on a Wednesday night before Christmas. The hustle and bustle of the season shows just how dedicated y'all are. And so I do appreciate that you guys coming out. And on top of that, they announced that I was going to be up here on Wednesday, and you didn't make you not want to come. So good job. Thanks for that. I appreciate it. As Pastor Blake said, my name is Carrie. I am the wonderful wife of Drew, sitting there in the front row. And like he said, we are just days away of going to Guatemala down as full-time missionaries. And for the last 18 months, we have been your kids ministry directors. And from the joke is that it's probably going to last another 18 months. I feel like it's been 18 months for the last 16 months. Every time I say, yeah, but, and they go, no, but 18 months. And I say, but I have plane tickets now. It can't be 18 months. So we're going down there. February 14th is that day. It's not because we want to break your hearts. It is because we love Guatemala. It's just, it can be both. Okay, it can be both. All right. I'm okay with breaking a little heart here or there. But we're finally stepping into this calling that God's called us for so many years ago, 14 to be exact. So for 14 years, and on February 14th, we will be heading out. Yeah. So we're really excited. And so because of that, the other job that Drew and I both have are government contractors out at LTM. And they know that we're leaving, and I had popped into the office real quick to do some computer work. And one of the guys that I work with said, hey, your time is getting close. What is one thing that you look forward to when going down to Guatemala? And I was like, ooh, that's a good question. Because there's lots of answers that ran through my mind. I didn't know at that moment, I could not pinpoint it down to just one. I could have said our time with Pastor Steve and Anna. We're going down there to work alongside with them again. If you don't know, that's kind of where our kids ministry journey began. It was when Pastor Steve was the children's pastor here at Liberty all those years ago. He kind of took us under his wing, had some confidence in us, stuck us in a nursery. He didn't think we would be too bad changing diapers since we had a couple of kids our own. Changing diapers, we changed a lot of those. We had a lot of spit ups, a lot of crying babies. It was a good time. And good time. Yep, that's what it was. And then Pastor Steve said, hey, you know what? I need your help in the 2s and 3s class. And we're like, oh, yeah, no more diaper changes. But we thought, oh, yeah, that'll be great. That'll be easy, snacks and more spit up and juice and occasional diaper. Okay, we got this. This is good. And he's like, you know what? Hey, I really need you in our 4s and 5s. And we're like, ooh. Okay, this is the age where they start to have the little light bulbs come off. You're teaching them a lesson. You can really see that they're getting to learn what God is, and it's just like those first little seeds being planted. Okay, yeah, that's great. 4s and 5s, we've got this. This is all good. And then Pastor Steve came to us one day and said, hey, we're growing. We're going to 2 services. I really need your help in the 1st through 5th grade class. 1st through 5th grade, where they start to talk back and they have opinions of their own, right? And Drew and I looked at each other, and he's like, I don't know. And I said, I don't know either. Surely these kids know more about the Bible than we do, right? They've got to know more about God. Like, that's intimidating. I don't want to stand in front of a room full of 1st through 5th graders telling a story, get it completely wrong, and then be corrected by a 2nd grader. That does not sound like fun to me. And so, we talked about it. We prayed about it. He's like, but I really have confidence in you. Let me tell you, when a leader has confidence in you, it just kind of puffs you up just a little bit. You start to believe that, okay, well, maybe I can do this. And so we reluctantly said yes, nervously said yes. And 22 years later, we're still with the 2nd through 5th graders. Steve saw something in us that we didn't see in ourselves, but I'm so glad that we sought it out and we took his confidence and we walked into that walk. It's kind of like what's going on here at Liberty now. Pastor Blake has confidence in us. I'm not quite sure yet why. I might find out at a later time or perhaps after we already leave. But here's the thing. He has confidence in us that we don't have. He has confidence in us because he is diligently seeking God, diligently seeking his word, and he has seen that Drew and I need to be ordained. We need to be commissioned as missionaries to go down. And that's kind of intimidating as well because, man, I don't want to let him down. Don't want to let Pastor Steve and Anna down. Definitely don't want to let God down. But we've prayed about it. It intimidated us again, yes, but that's okay. And we said, all right. And now we're now in the confidence that we believe that this is the next step that God needs us to do before we head out to Guatemala. I want to side note this on this. Church, you have a pastor who loves you. He is constantly trying to find ways to find your giftings and your callings and find you a place here at this church, whether it's even within these walls, maybe it's outside. And he's doing that because he wants to work alongside you and help you out. He loves you. And it's great. He's obediently listening to the word of God when it comes to shepherding this congregation. So I have to tell you at this time, man, we are just in a blessed time at this church. So the next thing I thought about that I could look forward to would be the people of Guatemala, right? People of Guatemala, they're wonderful people. It's a beautiful country. If you've not seen the pictures, go look it up. They have 3 volcanoes, Fuego being the naughty one because it likes to erupt every once in a while. But it's a beautiful place full of beautiful people. And these people, man, they are looking for God. They are just want everything that they can do to be in the presence of the Lord. And so that means sometimes walking for hours and miles to get to a church service. They know that through him, they are truly blessed. And when you start to think about that as someone who lives in America, how can they have that mindset? Their floors are dirt, their walls are made out of tin roofing. How can they feel like they're just so blessed by God? But they do, and they search for more of a relationship with him. And man, let me tell you, you've never worshiped until you have worshiped in another language. Like, it's crazy. Like, they're up there and they're going to town. It's nothing to them. They know all the words, and we're down there as a group and we're worshiping and we're going, I know the tune, right? But these words don't match with what I know. So it's really great. Now, I love worshiping with them. That's not saying that I don't love worshiping with y'all. For the last few weeks, we've been able to actually be over here during the worship service, and it has been truly amazing. I'm not going to say you are more or less worshipers than the people of Guatemala, but you guys can hold your own. And part of that is because of what God is doing through Anna and this worship team, right? Oh man, every time that Defender song gets me, and she knows it, and I think she did it on purpose, although I know she didn't do it on purpose because I have watched her, guys. I have watched her in her office praying and asking the Lord, what song this service? What do you want to hear? She is so anointing, and the worship that's been happening these last few months has been so powerful. It's great. And it pains me to say that, because between what God's doing with Anna and the worship team and what God's doing in Pastor Blake's sermons, I have now realized why you all don't want to go over and help in the kids' ministry. It's too good over here that you don't want to miss out what's going on over here to go hang out and change some diapers or potentially get spit upon. What in the world? But I don't blame you. But it is my shameless plug to say, hey, we still need volunteers over there. So, speaking of kids, all right, my next answer I thought that I could come up with was the kids. Okay, if you know me, if you know my husband, you know that we love kids. We love 99% of kids. Yes, you heard that right, 99% of the kids. I can't help it. I see a child, whether I'm in the grocery store or whether I'm at the church or whether, I don't know, at the gas station. I see a kid and I just want to squeeze them. Sometimes it's around the neck, but I just want to squeeze them. They're so cute. We've been doing this for a while. We have 4 kids together. I mean, they're all around us. You know the movie The Santa Claus? You know how he's sitting on the bench at the soccer game and all of the kids start lining up? I feel like that's me sometimes, because at random times I'll have a child just come up and attach themselves to my leg. And I got to look down and make sure I know the child first. And then it's like, oh, hey, how's it going? I love it though. We love your kids, and it's really truly bittersweet to be thinking about leaving them. We spent the last 16 months over there with your kids, and the stories I could tell. Now, I will tell you this, I don't believe everything they say about you. I don't. I do believe, though, that they have a heart for God over there. And with the awesome volunteers that we do have over there in the building, they are learning so much. But man, the kids. What's crazy about this is that we did ministry so many years ago here that we've actually been able to see some of our kids way back in the day grow up and start pouring into the ministry as adults. Autumn Delpino, Michael Fletcher, Dennis are just 3 that I can name. There's a whole slew of them because we used to do 2 services, and we used to have in one service 60 kids in just the 1st through 5th grade class. So talk about kids, right? So those are just 3 that are homegrown. I like to call them homegrown because they've been here for a while. And now, as adults, they're pouring into this ministry. Autumn is killing it next door. I mean, if you've got a question, she's got the answer. And if she doesn't, she's going to find the answer. She will lose sleep over it. Yeah. Dennis is up here on the drums, rocking it. I mean, amazing, right? Amazing things that he's doing. And Michael's back there making sure you all don't sing the wrong words. Yeah? Back there in the TA. But not only are they here in Big Kids Church ministering to y'all, they are over in the kids ministry too, pouring into your kids. They're giving back to a ministry that they grew up in. That, to me, is amazing. That isn't because Drew and I decided to do 1st through 5th grade class, but it's because God has big plans for them. Yeah. And I truly believe that with all of those kids that we have over there now, those kids, they're not just kids. They could be used by God too. They're not little, that they can't do anything and, we'll just sit them over in a corner. No. Not with that group that we have over there. And so it's bittersweet for us to leave them. However, I feel like we are going to have a few thousand kids in Guatemala to keep us busy. It's really easy to learn the names over next door, but I'm not sure we're going to be able to remember all of the names of all of the kids in Guatemala. But I'm excited to go try at least, right? I'm hoping there's quite a few Jose's and Alejandras, because that'll be really easy for me to remember, right? Which brings me to the next answer I thought about, right? I thought, doing something that matters. Going to Guatemala as missionaries, that's really important, right? Well, yeah, it is. But we're already doing something now that matters. I feel like, at least. I hope it is. We're already over there ministering to your kids. That's a big deal. It's not a light job to go over there and teach your kids about God. And it's a major deal. This team that we've got on staff is an amazing team, and to be able to come in and have the privilege of working with them every day and hearing the conversations and what God's doing in their lives and what God is doing in their own ministries has been an amazing privilege. Those really weren't the answers that I came up with. Because here's the thing. I kept on going back to 14 years. 14 years. We've prepped. We've prayed. We've talked about. We've dreamt about going to Guatemala. 2008 is when we first got the calling. And in 14 years, we haven't been down there yet. We've gone down on little groups here and there. But it's been 14 years. Come on, guys. We've been to North Carolina. We've been to Maryland. We've been to Okie. We've been back to North Carolina. None of those places, by the way, are Guatemala. None of them. We knew all of those places were not the places that was going to be our final destination. That's not where God was calling us to. With a constant, is this the day? Maybe this is the month. Is this the year? Is this ever going to happen? Back in the back recess of our minds, we just didn't know when it was going to happen. 2 Peter 3:8-9 says this. Dear friends, here's one thing you must not forget. With the Lord, a day is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years are like a day. And the Lord is not slow to keep his promise. And I thought, is he not? It's been 14 years, right? Well, we received that calling so many years ago. We've had several confirmations along the way. We just knew that God was calling us down to Guatemala. We just didn't know when. And so for 12 years, we said, okay, whenever. Anytime now? Now? We had a kid graduate. How about now? God said, nope. And then we've spent the last 18 months of knowing this was the time. We knew the year, and then later on the month came, and then later on the day came. It was crazy. We knew that God had a plan, and we had to just kind of sit back and let him work it out and wait on his timing to unfold. It is. And waiting is hard. The reason why Drew and I do so well over in the kids is because I am very childlike. And like children, waiting is hard. I'm impatient sometimes. Sometimes I'm impatient, yes. And waiting is super hard. I'm the type of the person who, when a decision is made, I'm like, okay, let's take action. Let's do it. Yeah. Why are we still analyzing it? Let's get it done. We made the decision, let's do it. And so when we got the calling for going down to Guatemala, I was like, okay, well, let's go. Let's do it. And God said, no, not yet. Sometimes God calls us to do something and he just doesn't reveal the timing just yet. So what do you do in the waiting? Do you just sit back and wait for God to say, okay, now's the time, and you just sit back on cruise control? We could have. We could have sat back there and just said, okay, well, we're here until you call us. You just let us know when. But if you know us, we're not those type of people. We knew that God had a plan in the waiting as well. And so even though he's called us to one place and he hasn't told us the time, we knew that there was still something up his sleeve and he had something for us even in the waiting. We knew that in every place that he took us, he had a plan for us, and that in that plan and in those places, he would teach us something that we would ultimately use out on the mission field in Guatemala. So the first time we were in North Carolina, we spent 15 years here. Yes, 15 years. The good old Marine Corps. This was it. We knew that this was just probably going to be where Drew was going to retire. Forget going anywhere. The Marine Corps does that sometimes. If you've ever heard, Cherry Point is a black hole. I truly believe it. You get sucked in here as the Marine Corps will bring you here, and then you don't go anywhere else. And for 15 years, we thought, well, this is it. This is where we stay, and that's okay. Our kids were all born here. They were all growing up here, and that was okay with us. We tried to move. We asked for orders. We begged for orders. We tried to take other people's orders. And God said, not yet. That's not what I want you to do. And then we look back and we go, oh, I get it now. This is where our foundation started. We learned so much here. In March of 2000, while attending this church, Drew actually received the gift of salvation here. It was amazing, right? I wasn't here because I had already moved back to Michigan because he was getting out of the Marine Corps because being in the civilian world was going to be better. I gave him 6 months. It only took him 4. And so I was on the phone and he was acting different and I couldn't figure it out why. And later on I come to find out it was because he was saved. Big change, right? Not too long after, in May of that year, while we were still in Michigan, I got saved in the parking lot of a mall where I worked. You know, I just don't question it anymore. Ephesians 2:19 and 20 says, so you are no longer outsiders and strangers. You are citizens together with God's people. You're also members of God's family. You're a building that is built on the apostles and prophets. They are the foundation. Christ Jesus himself is the most important stone in the building. So our foundation was set. We had laid the first stone in the rest of our journey, I guess. We knew that God had a reason for us to be here for so long. We knew that God had this place for us to get to know him. And so our foundation was set. Now, I could have never imagined back in 2000, which was a few kids ago, that we could be on the path that we are right now. That in just 55 days, but who's counting? That we would be ordained pastors on our way to Guatemala as missionaries. Some of you have known us for quite some time. Could you ever imagine that? Neither could I. So, Proverbs 3:5 and 6 says this, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. In all your ways, obey him, and then he will make your path smooth and straight. When we had given up the hope of ever getting orders and said, well, God, wherever you want us to be, that's where we'll be. We trust you. That's when God said, okay, now you're ready to move. When we finally gave up the control of trying to have the Marine Corps do what we wanted it to do and trying to make it what our plan was, and we gave the control over to God to send us wherever he wanted us or to leave us here, he put into action the next part of his plan. And maybe we could have had orders earlier. Maybe if it was our obedience in saying, hey, give it to God, maybe we could have been out of here earlier. Maybe not. And the reason I think maybe not is because the next step on our Marine Corps journey was Okinawa. Okinawa was beautiful. Beautiful sea, the water, we snorkeled, we did roller slides, it was great. But God had a plan for our time there in Okinawa too. It was to be with just the right people at just the right time that we needed. We became part of the chapel community there on base, and took over a singles ministry, and those singles became part of our crew. They were the first ones that we ever really truly started talking about our calling from God. We had kept it so close because we didn't want people to think that we were, one, crazy, and we didn't want people to think that we were doing it for the wrong reasons. So we kept quiet about it for a little bit. But here in Oki, it was where we gained our confidence in that calling. Our conversations started to become more frequent about our calling. The confidence in those conversations became even better. We knew that these people were placed in Oki at the same time we were, so that we could grow in that confidence. And as the Marine Corps does, it gives you lots of friends that are scattered throughout the globe, truly the globe. But this snitch of time with these people, we hold this group of people a little bit closer to us. And so we try to make an effort. We still keep in touch. They've supported us along this journey, and it's amazing. Actually, one of them, I'm hoping, will be here on the 21st for our ordination because, as luck would have it, the Marine Corps has sent him down to Lejeune. I'm very excited about that. So our next stop in the Marine Corps journey was Maryland, and Maryland was a whirlwind. Many ups and downs. It was cold. It snowed. I hated it. All right? The traffic there was either a constant go, fast as you can go, or a complete dead stop. It was just not the place for me. And it was also a place, unfortunately, where we started to withdraw just a little bit. We needed the rest. Don't get me wrong, Oki was beautiful, but we were constantly on the go. We had 4 kids in 4 different sports, a youth group, a singles ministry, a kids ministry. There was lots going on. And so in Maryland, we took a step back and we kind of withdrew just a little bit, just so we could get some rest. But it was a time that we look back now and we thank God that he let us experience it. Because we now know what it's like to be a little disconnected from him. Don't get me wrong, while we were there in Maryland, we did go to a church, and when it was a pretty good church, the kids kind of got somewhat involved in the youth ministry. It was great, but we were the people that got there right at the beginning and left right as it ended. The longest we were ever there was on Donut Sundays. Hint, hint, Donut Sundays sounds like a great idea. I'm glad you're here tonight, Pastor Blake. No, Donut Sundays was really the longest time that we ever spent before or after the service at this church. We were just the people that, we went to church, checked that box, and lived our lives the rest of the week. It's unfortunate. And you might be in that place right now. Maybe you're at a point in your life right now that you just need some rest, and so you're not really getting involved right now. You're just taking a step back. You're taking in the word. You're taking in the amazing preaching and the amazing worship. And that's okay. It was a good time of rest. However, I think we could have achieved that rest in a little bit healthier way. Tonight, the song, and it speaks so much to me, the Defender. In there it says, and this wasn't in my original notes, it says in there, when I thought I lost me, you knew where to find me, so much better your way. In Maryland, I struggled with anxiety for just a little bit. And I didn't realize why until after we got back involved in church. We had withdrawn so much from diving into God and his worship and his word that it caused anxiety inside of me. And so I thought I lost me. But he knew where to find me, right? He knew what needed to happen to get me back to him. And it truly is better his way because my way was not working. Even in all of that, God was just orchestrating the pieces. He's putting all of those pieces back together, right? Just like the song said. And we moved back to North Carolina very shortly, unexpectedly, in a whirlwind. He got an early promotion. Yay! And that was great. We weren't expecting it. It was total God thing because it kicked us out of Maryland earlier than we expected, which was a blessing. It was really cold. And so we came back, but we started in the process of the move, we started getting a little apprehensive because we thought, ooh, where are we going to go to church? It's one of those things that, okay, where are the kids going to go to school? Where are we going to work? Where are we going to live? But where are we going to go to church? We started thinking about it. And I have to tell you, full transparency, we left Liberty a year before we moved to Okinawa. It was a different time back then. We were different people. Things were different. And we felt that the Lord was telling us to go ahead and leave. It was difficult. Kids didn't understand. Our friends here in the church didn't understand. But we knew. We had prayed. It was time for us to go. We didn't talk to anybody about our reasons why, because what good would that have done? None, right? We could have. A lot of people asked why we left, but we didn't. We didn't want to talk about the reasons why, because it did nobody any good, except it could have created some secondhand offenses, and that's not what we wanted to do. So we left quietly. We didn't want to disrupt the unity here at the church. It would have planted seeds that we would not wanted to have reaped. I can tell you that right now. It was the right thing for us to do. So if you're unhappy sometimes in a place where you may be at, maybe it's within a church that you had attended in the past, didn't like the preaching, didn't like the worship. I don't know how you can not like the worship or the preaching here, but I ask you to pray about it. Ask God to give you the direction. Does he want you here? Does he need you here? Because it might be that he wants you to learn a lesson in the disgruntledness, right? But don't take it into your own hands. Don't try to bring others down with you. Your issues are your issues, right? And while others may feel the same way you do, it's not your responsibility to get them to act upon them. That's between them, God, and the Holy Spirit. So we left, and it was okay. God knew what he was about to put into motion in our final timeline for Guatemala. He allowed us to spend some time when we moved back to North Carolina at another local church. It was great. We got involved with the kids ministry. Shocker, right? We tried to get involved in other ministries, parts of their ministries, but it just wasn't working out. We just didn't feel like we were supposed to be there, and we began to feel the tug of coming back to Liberty. Yeah. At first I was like, but God, I said never. And he said, well, bless your heart. Well, let me tell you, my experiences of telling God I will never have really come to nip me in the bud. I said, I'm never going to be a missionary in a country where I can't flush toilet paper. And if I forget, there's tongs on the side of the toilet. And did I mention 55 days? And then I said, I'm never going on a plane for 14 hours across the ocean with 3 kids. You're crazy. It was actually 4 kids and a dog. I said I was never going to go back to Liberty. And here we are. I'm standing before you today, about to be ordained and commissioned. What? My latest and greatest, and Pastor Blake alluded to it a little bit earlier, I'm never going to be doing a sermon in Big Kids Church. No. And he offered so many times, and I said, no, it's all good. Not me. Kids. That's where I belong. Back to my point. God's timing, okay? Don't say I never to God. God's timing, right? We're talking about that. Look, God's timing is crazy. And just when you think you have it all figured out, he goes, ha ha ha, watch this. And then I sit there and I go, wait a minute. He's putting all of these pieces together. How? And then I go, but how could I ever doubt him? He created the sun, he created the moon, he created the stars, he created all the creatures, he created you and me, and that was no easy task. Have you met some of y'all? All he had to do was put these pieces together. In the song again, I hate that you played that song today. He goes before we ever know. He went before Drew and I ever knew. He knew that this was where he was calling us to be. He knew what was going to happen. He knew that we were going to leave here. He knew we were going to come back. He knew that relationships would be restored and great things would happen. So, if you're blessed to know what or where God is calling you, and the timing seems to take forever, like 14 years or so, there's some things that you can do in the waiting. Look for the thing that God wants to teach you in that moment. Ask the question, how will this prepare me for my calling? Does he want you to become better stewards of your time, of your money? Does he want you to dive into his word even more? Does he want you to use your talents or giftings to help those around you? Or maybe during this time, there's somebody here that needs to be speaking to you, that you could be learning from. The other thing you could be doing is blooming where you're planted. Man, if we waited 14 years until he finally said, okay, this is the time, we would have wasted 14 years if we just sat there and did nothing. But in those 14 years, we were able to see lots of things, to do lots of things. Just because you're not where you are, where God has called you to be, and maybe this is where God has called you to be, but if you're still going, no, this isn't it, it's okay. This is a place where you can still do his work. It's still a place where you can make relationships with the people that he has placed in your life. You might come to rely on those relationships. He can still use you to impact those around you. And even more importantly, he can use those around you to impact your life. If you would have told me I would have been friends with Anna 18 months ago, I would have said, nah. But man, the relationship we have built, and I love her child, I would have never have guessed. She and Jed and Mike have truly impacted our lives. Go figure. Be obedient. Seek him in all things. And when he tells you to do something, no matter how small or how silly it may sound, do it. No matter how much it may take you out of your comfort zone. Yep, do it. These are the things he's using to truly make sure that you're ready for the calling he's given you. Luke 16:10 says this, suppose you can be trusted with something very little, then you can also be trusted with something very large. So I'm going to go back to that original question. What am I looking forward to most about going down to Guatemala? And here's the answer. I look forward to having the feeling of being settled in the obedience and the calling that God has placed in our lives for so long. The feeling of being truly at peace, knowing that's where God wants us to be. That everything we've experienced throughout these last 14 years, the good, the bad, the ugly, was all in preparation for this. It wasn't always easy. It wasn't always perfect. We made wrong decisions, many wrong decisions. But we've learned from them, we've corrected our paths, and we've seen the fruits of our labors over the last 14 years. We can look back and see in every place where God had his hand in it. It's bittersweet. In normal society, it's the kids that leave the nest, right? And you become empty nesters. And for us, 3 of our 4 have. They have. Oh. We have a son in the Air Force, stationed up in D.C. We have a daughter who is actually visiting with us tonight, who's stationed up in Norfolk in the Navy. We have a son who was here a couple of weeks ago from Belgium in the Army. And then we have Elena. She's graduated. Yes. She's our Lou. You will hear me call her that very often, my little Lou. She's a smart young lady. She's graduated. She's going to school. She completed her first full semester of college just this last week. And hopefully soon she'll be in nursing school. It'll be great. But we're leaving her. She's not leaving us. We're leaving her. And that's scary. We're not only leaving her, we're leaving our family. And for us as a military family, we've left our family a long time ago. We will have been married, we're year 26 now? 26 years we have been away from our family in Michigan. All of our family, we're both from the same hometown. They're all still in Michigan. But we're still leaving them, and we're leaving y'all. We've established relationships here. We've come back home. This church is our home now. And we're leaving y'all. I'm sorry. We've fallen back in love with this place. I really am. We've fallen back in this place, but we know that this is where we needed to be in the last final preparations for Guatemala. We know that this was the safe place that we needed. We know we had the people around us that we needed. God's hand was all over it. God's timing was all over it from the time he called us to now, to February 14th. And we look so forward to our time in Guatemala. Look forward to see what God has in store for us down there and how he works it all out in the next part of our story. So I ask you this tonight. Whether you're in where you think God has called you or you're not yet there, what do you look forward to most to where God is leading you? What can you do while you're waiting? I can't wait to see and hear all of the updates as you guys come down on groups and visit with us. I know it's not us that you're visiting with. I get it. It's the kids. But we are excited for that, and we're excited for what is happening here and what is going to continue to happen here even long after we're gone. So thanks, guys. Thanks for sitting through and laughing inappropriately at my horrible jokes. I appreciate that. I hope you all have a good night, and we will see you on Christmas Eve service.